Music lovers across India today mourning the sudden death of singer KK, dead at just 53. But what's also worrying everybody are the big questions being raised as the videos of that concert which he performed in Kolkata came out. You can see here the singers wiping sweat, complaining of excess heat in the auditorium. He says it's hot. In fact, he says it's too hot. And then there's no sign of an ambulance or a trained doctor at the venue. There's no clear exit plan, no adequate ventilation. In fact, there are huge crowds of fans, hundreds more trying to get in. But fire extinguishers were then used to disperse the crowds outside the venue, even though that could be hugely dangerous. Why was the singer taken to the hotel first instead of the hospital? You can see those visuals of him being rushed out, yet he's taken to the hotel. So you can see him already looking deeply agitated. He may have been going to the cardiac arrest, but he's walking. There's no wheelchair, nothing, and rushed to the hotel and then brought dead to the hospital. Moving now to the other big political story, and this is for the first time Congress President Sonia Gandhi and ex-Congress President Rahul Gandhi have been summoned by the Enforcement Directorate. This marks a scaling up in the politics between the BJP and the Congress, with the BJP President JP Nadda leading the attack, saying that if Sonia and Rahul Gandhi aren't guilty, why are they asking for bail? The Congress meanwhile hit back, saying this is just about vendetta politics and that Sonia and Rahul Gandhi will not give in.
All right, so there is a political battle which has started in the National Herald case between the Congress and the BJP. You see, what has happened is that Sonia Gandhi as well as Rahul Gandhi have been summoned on the 8th. Sonia Gandhi is going to appear, but Rahul Gandhi, the Congress party says, will seek more time if he is not available. So that is what the Congress has said. The Congress also says that the ED has been brought in 7 years later, so they allege that this is all everything political. The Congress also says that they will not be afraid and they will fight this case.
हमने कहा हम न डरेंगे न झुकेंगे और सीना ठोक कर ऐसे कारनामों का सामना करेंगे.
The BJP has come up with a strong attack on the Gandhis. BJP chief JP Nadda has led from the front, where he says that criminals will never say that they are criminals. And why did Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi seek bail if they are not guilty? INB Minister Anurag Thakur also held a press conference today where he said that on the ED summons, he says investigating agencies are just doing their job.
देखा कि कोई मुजरिम बोले कि वो बेईमान है. कभी कोई मुजरिम बोलता है कि मैं बेईमान हूँ, सजा हो जाती है, 20-20 साल जेल में रह कर आते हैं, वो हमेशा ही बोलते हैं कि गलती में हमको फंसा दिया. जो आदमी कटघरे में खड़ा है, जो बेल पर है, तो बेल उठवा लो ना, चार्जेस हटवा लो ना. क्यों नहीं करते? तो इसलिए नहीं करते हैं क्योंकि कागज सच्चे हैं और कागज परमानेंट होते हैं, तो वो उनको उस जगह पर खड़ा रख रहे हैं.
And that, of course, continuing with the other big political face-off with Union Minister Smriti Irani today taking on Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal over the arrest of Satyendra Jain, Delhi's health minister.
मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग की 16 करोड़ 39 लाख की. अगर केजरीवाल जी के पास कोर्ट के इस दस्तावेज की कोई कॉपी नहीं है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता विधिवत बड़े सम्मान के साथ ये कॉपी ऑर्डर की उन्हें भेज सकते हैं. Mr. Kejriwal yesterday said, corruption tantamounts to Gaddari. Hence, my last question to Mr. Kejriwal is this. Does he knowingly now give patronage to those who have not only deceived the treasury, but also deceived people, to those Mr. Kejriwal says should be declared as Desh ke Gaddar? How long, Mr. Kejriwal, will this Desh ka Gaddar continue to receive your support?
मैं तो हमेशा से कह रहा हूं कि वो सबसे कट्टर ईमानदार आदमी है, कट्टर देशभक्त आदमी है सत्येंद्र जैन. उनको गलत तरीके से फंसाया जा रहा है, पर कोई बात नहीं, ईडी जांच करना चाहती है कर ले, सारी जांच से साफ सुथरे निकल के आएंगे. और वो तो ऐसे व्यक्ति हैं जिस पे देश को गर्व होना चाहिए।
So let's go away from politics on the health issues which are actually so important. And in Mumbai, there's again a worrying rise in COVID cases, with the city now reporting the highest cases since February. 739 new COVID cases were reported in Mumbai in the last 24 hours. The city municipal corporation has asked officials now to ramp up testing. This as the positivity rate is now over 8%, and overall 1,081 new COVID cases have been reported in Maharashtra. So a worry there, and the Maharashtra government saying people must start wearing masks again. The other big story we're tracking, protests continue from Kashmiri Pandit government employees in the Kashmir Valley who say they want to be transferred out as they fear for their lives in Kashmir. This after the latest targeted killing of a Kashmiri Pandit teacher, Rajni Bala. But today, police reacted by locking the protesting Kashmiri Pandit government employees into their transit camps. The Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor is now flying to Delhi to brief the Home Minister Amit Shah.
Locks and checkpoints at Kashmiri Pandit camps after they threatened mass migration. Kashmiri Pandits say they've been confined to their transit camps after their threat in the wake of targeted killings.
जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं कि हमें फोर्सफुली यहाँ पे अंदर बंद किया गया है, तो या तो गवर्नमेंट चाहती नहीं है कि हम यहाँ से वैकेट हो, हमें मरवाने के लिए यहाँ पे छोड़ दिया गया है। तो हम एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से ये दरख्वास्त करेंगे कि या तो हमें रिलोकेट किया जाए सेफर प्लेसेस पे जम्मू में या आउटसाइड जम्मू।
About 4,000 Kashmiri Pandits employed under a Prime Minister's special package yesterday threatened to leave the valley if the administration did not relocate them to safe places within 24 hours. This came after a Hindu school teacher from Jammu, Rajni Bala, was killed by terrorists outside his school in Kulgam district yesterday. This was the protest side of Kashmiri Pandits for the last 3 weeks. Today, tents and banners have disappeared and no one was allowed to reach here. But today, they woke up finding many transit camps locked. At Vesu in Anantnag, one of the biggest migrant camps, hundreds of employees held protests inside the camp. Only solution is relocation.
ये एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का बहुत ही बड़ा फेलियर है कि उन्होंने हमें कल शाम से ही यहाँ पर बंद कर दिया गया। जैसे शिवपुरा में, यहाँ पर बटवारा में, यहाँ इंदिरा नगर में, यहाँ सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस लगाए गए। हमारे कार्ड चेक कर रहे हैं, आइडेंटिटी कार्ड चेक किए जा रहे हैं कि ये कश्मीरी पंडित माइग्रेशन तो नहीं कर रहा है, ये निकल तो नहीं रहा है।
In Delhi, there's already politics over the situation.
उनके साथ वही हो रहा है जो 90 के दशक में हुआ था। उन्हें चुन चुन के उनके घर में घुस के, उनके दफ्तर में घुस के सड़कों पे निशाना बनाया जा रहा है, उन्हें मारा जा रहा है। ये अमानवीय है, इंसानियत के खिलाफ है, देश के खिलाफ है।
The challenge for the government are only increasing by the day. After Kashmiri Pandits, hundreds of employees from Jammu who are working in the valley are also demanding their relocation following the killing of Rajni Bala. The fear of being the next target is forcing these employees to abandon their offices. In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi for NDTV.
A quick look at other news. Well, in Bihar, an all-party meeting was held on a caste census, and there's been agreement from all, including the BJP, that in Bihar there will be a caste count, not a census, because that could run into legal issues, and that can only be ordered by the centre. This caste survey is likely to go through after the state cabinet clears the proposal.
सब लोगों की सहमति से ये बात हो चुका है, किसी तरह का कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, और आप अच्छी तरह जो हमने बता दिया, एक समय सीमा हम लोग बहुत कम समय का निर्धारण करते हैं। आपस में बातचीत हो गई, लेकिन उसको कैबिनेट से ले करके ये हम लोग घोषित कर देंगे। आज हम लोगों की आपस में बातचीत हो गई, लेकिन अभी कुछ कहते हैं तो जब एक बार कैबिनेट में कर लेंगे वही चीज, तो उसको सबको प्रकाशित कर देंगे। एक समय सीमा हम लोगों ने निर्धारित कर दिया है, और इसका नामकरण हम लोग देने जा रहे हैं जाति आधारित गणना।
Meanwhile, superstar Akshay Kumar has a new movie out, but this time it's not about action. He's waded into the historical battlefield and the controversial issue of history textbooks.
अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे टेक्स्ट बुक में सिर्फ 2 या 3 लाइनें लिखी हुई हैं हिस्ट्री की किताब में. बाकी सारी चीज़ों के ऊपर लिखी हुई है जो इन्वेडर्स के ऊपर लिखी हुई है, लेकिन हमारे खुद के जो कल्चर है, हमारे जो खुद के महाराजा हैं, राजा हैं, उनके बारे में 2-2, 3-3 अक्षर लाइनें लिखी हुई हैं.
Many reactions coming in on that. Meanwhile, a quick look at the markets, which declined for the second straight day today. Though oil gained, the Sensex declined at 185 points. The Nifty also falling by 61 points. Pharma and IT shares declined the most. Experts say growth and inflation concerns persist, and oil prices continue to gain on the European Union's Russian oil ban, however, and the end of the Shanghai lockdown. So let's just go across to Shanghai, where today China's second biggest city, the commercial capital of China, opened up. Hopefully, this means the global supply chain will also normalize.
Traffic, pedestrians and joggers reappeared on the streets of Shanghai as China's largest city began returning to normalcy amid easing of a strict 2-month lockdown due to COVID-19.
生意肯定是有点就是说报复性反弹嘛，这个是很正常的，因为毕竟是憋了这么久嘛，是吧？憋了到2个多月嘛，人人都期待来外面哪怕说说话呀，对吧？都是开开心心的这种，你知道吧？
现在还不是很正常。如果会正常的话，我们早上就想那个了，就是没办法那个全部，就像我们这上面的都没办法全部有，只能先做肠粉，肠粉是可以。
From local shopkeepers to global traders, all are welcoming the easing of this lockdown, as over 10% of China's trade with the rest of the world comes from Shanghai. Bureau Report, NDTV.